Ukarsh and Budkar and Kathleen Madden. Give it up, y'all. So this season, we asked local reporters around the country to share the incredible people in their town who inspired them the most. It's part of our search for the Good Neighbor of the Year. That. At the end of the season, everybody, we're going to ask you, the viewers, to choose your favorite. Today, we are headed to Boston. I love Boston. And we've got NBC 10 Boston anchor Priscilla Casper joining us, along with the artistic director of Project STEP, Dr. Ian Saunders. Give it up, y'all. So, everybody, meet everybody.
Hi.
Kathleen, Ukarsh. So, Priscilla, you've chosen Project STEP for Good Neighbor of the Year, so tell us why.
Okay, so first off, thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
It is incredible to see Boston community leaders. They are pushing and striving to have Boston be more inclusive and equitable for everyone. So when we heard about Project STEP and the great work that they're doing, it's an incredible organization. They are looking to change the faces of classical music, literally. They're taking these kids of color, kindergarten through 12th grade, and they're giving them access to learn how to play string instruments, to music theory, and they're learning from some of Boston's top musicians in the country. One thing that we noticed is when you look across the country and you see these orchestras, fewer than 5% are African American and Latino. So a program like Project STEP that is making sure there's equal representation in this industry is so important. The opportunity, but the biggest thing is they're doing it for as little to no cost for these families.
Which is important because, like, I was one of those kids that had no money. So, like, any program like that would have been helpful for me. So, Ian, you know firsthand the economic barriers to studying classical music. So what was your experience like personally?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up just 5 minutes away from the Virginia Symphony. And between that and I had a babysitter whose son played the viola. So I don't actually remember a time when I didn't want to play music. So I asked my mom, I asked my mom in kindergarten if I could take up the violin, but we couldn't afford it. So lessons can be really expensive, almost up to $100, and we're not even talking about the instrument. So fortunately, I was able to pick up the violin in the 5th grade through the public system, and then play that all throughout high school. Now in college, I actually switched to the bass because the college needed a bass player. I needed money. And so that's how we got the scholarship sort of secured there. But that was also good because it was a chance where I can have a teacher right from the beginning for my development, which is just so important as far as like learning all of those things. So I've been really fortunate since then to play with great orchestras like Cincinnati, Cleveland, and even my hometown orchestra, Virginia Symphony as well. And then I've also been teaching for years, kindergarten all the way up through grad school before coming and being artistic director for Project STEP.
That's incredible.
Thank you, thank you.
That's really incredible. So, Ukarsh and Kathleen, like, what kind of barriers did you face as you chased your dreams of being in entertainment? I'm sure, like, first of all, females, it's a male-dominated thing, you know, the comedy world, I feel like.
There's a lot more guys that show up, though, too. Like, we need more women to show up at open mic night to also get knocked down like the rest of us. But I feel like comedy's very fair, that part. If you go to a club, you either went on stage and you did well or not, and no one can hide that. Like, we all heard that.
Yeah, we all heard you either bomb or succeed.
We all heard that lack of laughter, man or woman, so.
Yeah. What about you, Ukarsh?
First of all, we should have had him in the cypher earlier. It would have been great if you had played with us. That would have been so cool.
Oh, yeah, that would have been
And
cool.
I also played violin through the public school system.
I did too.
In elementary school, yeah.
I did too.
I was, I did not stick with it, but...
I didn't either, because my sister broke it, and then we were poor.
I might have broke mine.
Yeah.
But the discipline that it taught me that I needed to have to succeed in things, like, that's a lesson I took. From that failure, it was like, yo, you got to work very hard.
Yeah.
But look, it's tough for everyone, right? Representation is a thing now that's like this hot button issue, and as a South Asian, I've, you know, been forcefully put behind many a computer screen on set in my life, right? And cab driver and blah, 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 and we know all that. And it takes a lot of strength and resilience to hear no and to keep sort of plugging away and to stay true to yourself and to know, set boundaries for what we will and won't do and continue to succeed. And then it's just as important to me as like you guys are doing to reach back and help the next generation be afforded some of the, like to walk on the road that people have paved for me and that I'm hopefully paving for other people behind me. So I think it's great what you guys are doing and it's super important. We need to advocate for folks who don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, you were saying we do talk about, it's a hot button right now, representation, but I think until it's not a problem, we should still talk about it. Like, it's like, just keep bringing it up, because if you don't, then I don't feel like that progress is gonna be made. But explain more, Ian, explain more about Doctor, I'm gonna say Dr. Ian. Dr. Ian Snyder, you worked hard for that. Explain more about how Project STEP, got started.
It was started in 1982, and so the way that they wanted to address this was making sure that students of color in the Boston community had free access to instruments, lessons, and the most important thing is ongoing support from the professional musicians in the area as well. And so it started with just 7 students, and since then we've served 2,000 students in the Boston area as well. So we have 2 programs. Oh, thank you.
What are the 2 programs?
So we have 2 programs. One is called our Focus program, where we partner with local public schools, and then we also provide free access with instruments and lessons as well. And then we have our Advanced Core program that takes place all day on Saturday, and that's where they have their classes and workshops and everything. So that's how we have it set up.
That's cool. So for 40 years, y'all, Project STEP has worked to remove economic barriers kids face and can face if they want to study classical music. Ultimately, the program's helping bring diversity to orchestras in Boston and nationwide, which is awesome. Right now, several students from Project STEP are hanging out at a local recording studio with Priscilla's colleague, NBC 10 Boston anchor LaToya Edwards. Let's see what's going on there. What's up, LaToya? Where are you? Who are you with?
Oh, hi, Kelly. Welcome to the world-famous Futura Productions. And it's a wonderful place to be. This is located right in Rosendale, a neighborhood of Boston. And let me brag for a moment. This facility is truly state-of-the-art. And the best part is Project STEP gets to record here. But before you meet the absolutely fantastic students, so talented, and they have an out-of-this-world performance for you, I want you to meet someone else who's exceptional as well. Mariana, who's a teacher with the program and also is an artistic advisor. Mariana, show your beautiful smile right now. We also want to tell folks that beautiful connection, 30 years that you have with Project STEP. Tell us about it.
Yes, well, actually, thank you so much for having me, first and foremost. But my connection with the Boston Symphony Orchestra and Project STEP stems all the way back to the time that I was 2 years old, when I wanted to be a violinist, and I would peek over the balcony and watch members of the Boston Symphony, and I would point over to my mother and say, I want to play the violin. And then 7 years later, I auditioned into the Project STEP community and family, and I basically was welcomed in with open arms and had access to, like Dr. Saunders said, wonderful musicians and a violin and musical teaching from all over the place.
And it led to an amazing career.
Yes, I went to the Juilliard School of Music, and I was fortunate to perform with wonderful musicians such as Yo-Yo Ma and Pamela Frank and Lin Chang, and also performed with different symphonies like the Sphinx Symphony Orchestra as well as the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra.
And the best part is that you came back to Project STEP, you're working with the next generation, and it's about representation.
Absolutely. Representation is so important. Not only just playing the music that we know of in the regular canon of music that we know, but also the music that is not as commonly played from the African and Latin diaspora.
Wow. Well, LaToya, we're about to hear some music, and you have someone there to set it up, right?
Oh, Kelly, I have the perfect person for you. Meet Josue. Josue is the program director for Project STEP, the executive director, and you've been with the organization for about a year. You take it away.
All right. Now performing the Swords Dance from Peter Warlock's Capriel Suite, here's Project STEP.
working to literally change the face of classical music, and we want to see it grow. So, Ian, that is why we're giving the organization $10,000 just to help it. That was really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful what you're doing. So much opportunity for so many kids that wouldn't have had it otherwise. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ian. Thank you, Priscilla, Latoya, Mariana, Josue, and all the Project Step performers. That was incredible. We will be right back with What I'm Liking.